He has an event that he's hosting at the White House. NewsNation's Kelly Meyer will be there in the East Room at the White House. That's supposed to get underway here in the next few minutes. But they're not ready yet, so it looks like we have time to have a conversation ahead of it with Congressman LaHood, Republican out of Illinois, who joins us, sits on both House Intelligence and Ways and Means. So we could talk to you about this, and maybe we could talk to you about that, so to speak. We had a bunch of senators coming out last hour on Iran. Any quick thoughts on what we've seen, even today, with a big briefing from Secretary Hegseth and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs on damage assessment, what's been reported in intelligence, and what have you. Now the senators have been briefed after that was delayed. What would you say about this kind of conversation we've been having over the last week? What should we be focused on?
Well, Connell, thanks for having me on. I do serve on the House Intelligence Committee. I give President Trump and his team a lot of credit for taking the bold action that he did last Saturday. He didn't do that in like a rushed fashion. He did his due diligence. He relied on the intelligence, worked with the Israelis and the team around him, and it was decisive. Taking the taking the nuclear option off the table was the right thing to do. Since then, we've had a number of briefings in the Intelligence Committee and a number of open source reporting that shows that this was the right decision. And remember, Connell, President Trump gave the Iranian mullahs 60 days to come to the table through a negotiated peace process. They refused to do that on day 61 is when this campaign began. But make no mistake, the Middle East is safer, the world is safer by the action taken by President Trump.
Now the president pivots, and we're going to watch that in real time today. At least publicly, he's been focused almost exclusively on foreign policy, really for the last couple of weeks. But today it's back to the big, beautiful bill. What would you say about getting this thing across the finish line? I know you guys passed it in the House. In the Senate, the parliamentarian is kind of like the referee, kind of seemed to throw a monkey wrench in it today, said some of the pay-fors might not be or shouldn't be allowed in. So I'm not sure if that slows it down. President's going to make the case today. Where's all this going?
Well, I think it's full speed ahead. Remember, the president got elected on two issues: fixing the unmitigated disaster at our southern border and illegal immigration, and the economy. He's done a tremendous job already, A+ on the border. Now we need to fix the economy. We need to bring down inflation, bring down interest rates, making things more affordable for people, bringing down energy costs. The one big, beautiful bill does that. Not perfect, but it's a good bill. And we need predictability and certainty in the economy. And we need to make the tax cuts from 2017 permanent. And remember, Connell, if we do nothing, we'll have $4.5 trillion of tax increases at the end of this year. So this is a solid bill for the economy. A lot of work went into it. And we'll see what happens. I know it's a fluid situation in the Senate right now, but we got it done by Memorial Day. By 4 days, we beat it. The Senate should get it done by the 4th of July and get it to President Trump's desk.
Now, big picture, if you're just looking at this argument, what people say is that, you know, it's going to cost a lot of money and add a lot to the deficit and to the debt deficits. What the White House is basically saying is, no, it won't be as much as you think because we're going to have better economic growth, right? That's basically been the argument, right? So the White House says we're going to have better growth, so that's not true. The Committee for Responsible Federal Budget put out this analysis. I'm going to read part of it on that topic this week, saying that the Senate Finance Committee is claiming that its reconciliation tax proposals would add $441 billion to the deficit through 2034. That score relies on egregious current policy baseline gimmick. Under current law, we estimate these proposed tax cuts would add $4.2 trillion to deficits, nearly $500 billion above the House equivalent, $4.8 trillion if made permanent. So these are folks, obviously, as you know, that look at debt and deficits. That's their thing for years and years. They say this assumption that's being made by some members of Congress and also by the White House is just too rosy. What do you say?
Well, Connell, I'll tell you this. It's predicated on growth per year at 1.7, 1.8. That's just not going to happen. We think growth will be above 2.5, maybe even a little bit higher than that. They had the same predictions for the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that gave rocket fuel to the economy. We moved 6.5 million people out of poverty. So if you look at the provisions in there, we also cut $1.6 trillion in federal spending in the House bill over a 10-year period. That's real deficit reduction there. I hope the Senate sticks to that. But this is going to bring that predictability and certainty to the economy. Connell, there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines of this economy. Private equity money, VC money, banks, middle-class folks. But once you have that predictability and certainty, you're going to have the economy take off. That's what all the economists that we trust and rely upon are saying, and I think that'll happen.
All right, Congressman, good to see you. We have this event starting in a few minutes. Thanks for coming on with us today.
Thanks, Colin.